From Eldridge Stadium in Elmira, New York, the stars of NASCAR versus the stars of IMSA in a celebrity softball game.
Our visiting team tonight represents the NASCAR Wallace and National Series, which will be competing in the Phase 150 at Watkins Glen on Saturday. The NASCAR team members use the first base dugout. They'll form up on the first base line as they are introduced. First of all, the head coach of the NASCAR team. He's a semi-pro softball player for several years. Number 2 NASCAR is the technical inspector on the Wallace and National Series. From Hickory, North Carolina, Steve King. The NASCAR assistant coach played professional softball for 8 years after a brilliant career in college baseball at North Carolina State University. He now works as a public relations representative for the Alliance Racing Team in the Busch Grand National Series. From Newton, North Carolina, Dennis Punch. Now let's meet the NASCAR players. Each player is wearing a number on his uniform that corresponds to the number of the car he'll be driving in Saturday's Phase 150 at Watkins Glen. Member of a famous NASCAR racing family that includes Father Bobby and Brother Davy. His driver in his first full season on the Busch Grand National Series drives the number 9 High Point Betting Oldsmobile from Hueytown, Alabama, Clifford Allison. Unable to play tonight because of a hand injury suffered in a pickup basketball game, the winner of 2 NASCAR Busch Series races in his career and the driver of the number 8 TIC Financial Systems Oldsmobile from South Boston, Virginia, Jeff Burton. Last year's winner of the NASCAR Winston Cup Budweiser at the Glen, and the winner 3 weeks ago at Sears Point, the driver of the number 4 Kodak Hill Chevrolet from Modesto, California, Ernie Irvan. The 1991 NASCAR Busch Series champion and a one-time winner this season, the driver of the number 44 Slim Jim Chevrolet from Corpus Christi, Texas, Bobby Labonte. One of the nation's winningest short-track racers over the last 10 years, the winner of 2 NASCAR Busch Series races in his career, the driver of the number 75 Food Country USA Oldsmobile from Lawton, Michigan, Butch Miller. The 1990 Rookie of the Year on the NASCAR Busch Series, and the runner-up in last year's Phase 150, driver of the number 87 Texas Pete Sauces Chevrolet from Lakeland, Florida, Joe Nemechek. One of NASCAR racing's hottest drivers over the past few weeks with 3 NASCAR Busch Series wins. He drives the number 59 Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Oldsmobile from Asheville, North Carolina, Robert Presley. The winner of last week's NASCAR Busch Series race at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the driver who's no stranger to race fans in the Southern Tier area, the former NASCAR Modified Champion, driver number 20, Daly's First Aid Oldsmobile from Berwick, Pennsylvania, Jimmy Spencer. And the driver who's been the point leader of the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series since early in the season. He's a one-time winner this season in the Dirt Devil Pontiac from St. Louis, Missouri, Kenny Wallace. Now let's meet the starters for the NASCAR team. And if you're keeping score, as I say, this is not the batting order. We'll introduce the drivers by position. We'll bring in the batting order just a little bit later on. Starting at first base, the driver from the West Coast, who's in his 2nd season on the NASCAR Busch Series, the driver number 24, Banana Boat Ford from Modesto, California, Troy Beatty. Playing second base, the driver who scored his first career win earlier this season at Rockingham, the driver of the number 27, Waltley Big 8 Buick from South Boston, Virginia, Ward Burton. Starting at shortstop is a late addition to the team who landed a ride for this race late last week. Because of that, he isn't listed in your program. He's a veteran of 8 years on the series. He's the husband of driver Patty Moise from Chesapeake, Virginia, Elton Sawyer. At third base for the NASCAR team, the driver with 5 career wins of the series. He drives the number 31 Channel Lock Tools Oldsmobile from Gadsden, Alabama, Steve Grissom. Starting in right field is a driver with a tremendous fan following all around the Northeast and especially in his native Pennsylvania. He drives the number 1911 Racing Oldsmobile from McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania, Tom Peck. Playing center field for NASCAR is one of the hottest drivers in the series, with 6 poles this year as well as wins in Atlanta and Charlotte. He's also last year's Rookie of the Year, the driver of the Baby Ruth Ford from Pittsburgh, Indiana, Jeff Gordon. Starting in left field, the driver in his second season racing in the West Grand National Series, he drives the number 5 Innkeeper Pontiac from Little Rock, Arkansas, Richard Lackner. Short fielder for the NASCAR team is the current Rookie of the Year, the leader on the series. He was the 1991 NASCAR Swiss Grand National North Series champion. He drives the number 99 DuPont Chevrolet from Newburgh, Maine, Ricky Craven.
Can't call that hurting anymore. Huh? Can't call that hurting anymore.
The starting pitcher for the NASCAR team is the 1990 champion of the NASCAR West Grand National Series. He's also a former NASCAR West to the West champion. He's the driver of the number 63 Nescafe FT Pontiac from Portland, Oregon, Chuck Brown.
That's probably a story that needs to be written.
And completing the starting lineup for the NASCAR team, your catcher, a winner earlier this season at Pennsylvania International Raceway in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, the driver of the number 34 Hungry Jack Chevrolet from Chemung, New York, Todd Bodine.
How many years has he been?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the NASCAR team.
I bet it's been 4 or 5 years since he's won 2 in a row.
Among them, for 7 Formula 1 races, 5 NASCAR races, and 24 hours of Le Mans, Can-Am, and other sports car races. Twice he was the runner-up at the Indianapolis 500. He's the owner of All-American Racers, Toyota Eagle Race Team from Newport Beach, California. Please welcome Dan Gurney. Now let's meet the IMSA players. Each player, again, is wearing a number on his uniform that corresponds to the number of the car he'll be driving in Sunday's Campbell Continental.
No other attractions in
2 of our players will be competing in the Bridgestone Supercar Championship on Sunday.
I read a story at Myrtle Beach.
That team is likely to move to Daytona for next season.
Yeah. What size is the ballpark there?
Might have thousands.
The reigning Campbell GTP champion and lead driver for the Nissan team captured his 4th straight championship in 1991. He's competed on the IndyCar circuit as well as FCC and IROC series. His father's a 3-time world champion. He's never played softball. He scored many goals in cricket, so you'll want to watch him on the low pitches. He's a native of Sydney, Australia, now living in Lantana, Florida. Driver the number 83 Nissan, Jeff Bravo.
To the Myrtle Beach area, to the grandstand. Next year, we won't have
driver with
baseball.
12 Campbell's GT career victories. He brings everything from the Porsche Cup, Formula Atlantic, and SCCA to victory in the 24 hours of Le Mans. Softball background's a different story. He once had 3 hits in the Little League and vision hitting on base at least once tonight. He's an avid motorcycle enthusiast from Evergreen, Colorado. Driver of the Monza number 77, Frank Cobb.
Well, see, I think there's a market in Myrtle Beach if it's done right. It's a matter of selling. People don't go.
Finishing 7th in the Camel Lakes Championship and competing in the Jaguar Sport Intercontinental races last year. This driver is such a fan that Sunday he hopes to own his own baseball team. He plays softball very well, but he feels more comfortable in the lane shooting a Tesla jumper. Driver of the number 44, Candia, Imperial of Country Buick, Andy Evans. We might also add owner of the team. As a young boy, this driver was surrounded by racing, helping his father build winning race cars and watching his uncle win races. Second in the Camel GTP point standing, he drove Dan Gurney's Toyota Eagle to victories at Sebring, Lime Rock, and New Orleans this season. He's a native of Argentina. He's a nephew of the 5-time world champion with whom he shares the name. He's the driver of the number 99 All-American Racers Toyota Eagle, Juan Manuel Fangio II.
But I'll start with 2 great players. And they were good buddies. They had the same agent.
Making his first Camel Light appearance at Road Atlanta last season with 5 top 5 finishes, he moved to the Camel GTP ranks in 1992. His best finish this season is the 3rd place. The driver of the Applebee's International Spice Chevrolet from Auburn, Alabama, Hugh Fuller.
Just a little more market spread. And
Blockbuster?
Yeah, then there'll be.
No.
Driver obtained his pilot's license at the age of 16 and has been flying both in the air and on the ground ever since. Began racing in 1969. In 1991, he won the IMSA Exxon Supreme GTO Championship, helping to win the manufacturing title for Mazda as well. He's a graduate of Purdue University in Aviation Electronics and Industrial Education. He drives the number 78 Mazda. Now living in Birmingham, Michigan, please welcome Pete Halsmer.
A little known fact. Oh, another little. Yeah, here's Jesus. Yeah, right. There's a good file.
1991 SCCA World Challenge champion started racing in
royalties for his
1986.
Max card.
Has
Now that they're
consistently
in
been a winner in
receivership of the
IMSA
government.
Firehawk, SCCA World Challenge, and Endurance Cup races. He likes the fast track. He's the driver in the Bridgestone Supercar Series, the KMS Motorsports Valley Chevrolet number 34.
The first
He's
corner
from
there's
Pumpkin
Smiling
Town,
Sam.
South Carolina. Please welcome Sean Hendrick.
So I know there's a royalty check involved with this. Does this go straight to Washington?
In 1991, this
I'm
driver
sure it does.
captured the Camel Lakes Championship by winning 8 of the 14 races. He had 11 pole positions, including 9 in a row. This year, he's won 4 out of 7 races. He takes on any challenge that's put before him and comes out on top. He's the driver of the number 49 Accurate Spike from Redmond, Oregon, Parker Johnstone.
With the appropriate flip-up shades.
This driver has led the Camel GTP point standings after every race this season with wins at Road Atlanta and Mid-Ohio. He won 5 races for the Bud Light team in 1991 and ranked 3rd in the Camel GTP Championship. He grew up around suburban Chicago, and later his family moved to nearby Portland, New York, where he became a top star in go-karts and quarter midgets in the central New York area. He's the driver of the number 2 Bud Light Jaguar. He now resides in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Please welcome Davy Jones.
Do you feel like it's like one of these to get into?
This 23-year-old native Californian attended his first race when he was 2 weeks old. He emerged on the racing scene at the age of 13, touring up the oval track on the West Coast by the age of 17. He's raced everything, midgets, sprint cars, as well as road racing. He got his first taste for Camel GTP racing in 1991 at Daytona. He's the eldest son of the 1963 Indianapolis 500 winner Parley Jones, the driver of the All-American Racers Toyota number 98 from Rolling Hills, California, P.J. Jones. Even though his athletic abilities are not in softball, he played hockey for the U.S. Junior Olympic team from 1968 to 70. He was an accomplished certified pilot and began his IMSA racing career in 1986. Best finishes of the Camel Lights race this season are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th in 7 races. He drives the Bell Ray Oil number 63 Buick Kudzu. He's from Vail, Colorado, Tim McAdam. This driver won the Skip Barber Series Championship in 1985, the IMSA Firehawk Grand Sports Championship in 1990. In Camel GT competition, his best finishes have been a 3rd place in New Orleans and a 5th place at Watkins Glen last year. He's the chief driving instructor at Road Atlanta, the driver of the Danka number 5 Chevrolet from Glens Falls, New York, Jeff Berner. This driver began his racing career in stock cars. In 1991, he competed in the IMSA Exxon Supreme Series GTO class, winning 4 out of 5 starts. He won a Camel Lights competition at the recent New Orleans street race, and he had 2 second and 1 third place finishes this season. He said it's been 10 years since he played in the softball league, but he's going to give it a good shot. He's the driver of the Scandia Perry Ellis number 45 Buick Kudzu from Jacksonville, Florida, Tommy Reagan.
I introduced him at the starters lineup.
This driver in 1982 won the Northeast Division Formula Ford Championship. In 1984, he finished 2nd in the SCCA Super B Series. In 1987, he won the Camel GTC Championship, and he finished 2nd in the standings to teammate Jeff Radlin for 3 straight years. He has 15 career Camel GT victories. He's finished 2nd 25 times in 105 career starts. He's an avid long-distance runner. He was a 38-foot motor coach during the racing season, which he'll probably have to move out of when he gets married this fall. The driver of the Nissan Performance Technology number 84 Nissan, Chip Robinson. And our final driver, I'm sorry. Our next driver won the 1987 and 89 World Sports Car Championship and began competing in the IMSA Camel Lights class in 1989. He has 3 Camel GT victories, all in 1990. Best finishes for the 1991 season were 3rd at New Orleans and at Watkins Glen. He's currently 2nd in the 1991 Camel Lights point standing. Driver of the Scandia Perry Ellis number 44 Buick Kudzu from the Olympic city of Barcelona, Spain, Fermin Velaz. And we're not introducing this gentleman for the 2nd time because, as we said earlier, we've got 2 of them here tonight. This 22-year-old driver is the youngest driver in the Bridgestone Supercar Series. He started racing in 1989. He won the 1990 SCCA Escort World Challenge Rookie of the Year title. He's the driver of the Valley Chevrolet Quaker State number 03 Corvette from Sweet Valley, Pennsylvania, IMSA Kenny Wallace. And before we give both of these teams a big hand, we'd like to introduce one more important individual in the racing world who has joined us this evening. He is the director of the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series, the guy that all of these guys call boss, Mr. Robert Black. And I'm proud to say, guys, no, Robert is not going to umpire this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give both of these teams, the NASCAR Busch Grand National and the IMSA Camel GT teams, a big hand.
Maybe it's got pinched here.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched with so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Standing outside the batting box, Ward Burton, who will be the leadoff hitter. The second batter will be Richard Lassiter. Jeff Gordon will be the third batter up. Robert Presley bats cleanup later on in the evening. On the mound, IMSA's Kenny Wallace. For the Camel GT Series team, Price Cobb, the catcher. As we go around the lineup, on first base is Andy Evans. The second baseman is Davy Jones. Playing shortstop is Parker Johnstone. Pete Halsmer is at third. In the outfield, Sean Hendricks in left, Jeff Brabham in left center, P.J. Jones in right center, Tommy Riggins is in right field. And again, the pitcher is Kenny Wallace with Price Cobb behind the plate.
No, that's out.
Oh, that's his. I already finished mine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm on the way.
We needed the names of the umpires.
The only one I know is Chip Secret's behind the plate.
Yeah. Despite the fact that we have race drivers playing baseball, the rules are still basically the same here tonight. 4 balls, 3 strikes, 3 outs. You got that, guys? And we're ready to go. There will be no yellow flags. First pitch. Hit towards the shortstop. Johnstone up with the ball over to first in time, and Burton goes down, ground out to the shortstop, and there's one down. Glad you've joined us here tonight. Next into the batter's box, Richard Lassiter, originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, driving the innkeeper entry on the Busch Grand National Series circuit. First pitch is a ball. Lassiter, left-handed hitter, waits for pitch number 2. It comes from Wallace. Lassiter with a fly ball deep to right center field. Back for the ball is P.J. Jones. And out number 2 recorded for the IMSA Camel GT Series team. So quickly, 2 outs on the NASCAR team, and Jeff Gordon steps into the batter's box. We understand Gordon been practicing extensively for this game, and it shows. Base hit, left field. Gordon will go around first base. Ball comes in from Hendricks into the infield to Davy Jones, and NASCAR has its first base runner of the night. Jeff Gordon on first with a single. 2 outs, the batter, Robert Presley, currently second in Busch Grand National points. High outside, ball 1 to Presley. 2 outs, Jeff Gordon on first, and the pitch. Swung, hit up towards the middle. It will go through for a base hit as Jeff Gordon goes safely into second and Presley into first. So NASCAR with 2 runners on now and 2 outs. Next up to the plate, Troy Beebe of California. He also will bat left-handed. The NASCAR boys trying to generate a late rally with 2 outs. Here's the pitch, and Beebe swings. Ball is hit straight away, center field. Jones goes after it, pulls it in, and NASCAR will be down. 2 runners left, 2 hits, no runs, no errors, and no score at the end of a half inning.
Looking at the defense for the NASCAR team, Todd Bodine behind the plate. And I think he just might know the plate umpire. One of the legendary figures in Chemung County sports, Duke Sechrist, working behind the plate tonight. Nick Mealy will be the umpire at first base, Mike Muzon at second, and Dick Halstead around at third. Our umpires tonight from the American Softball Association. Down at first base for the NASCAR team is Troy Beebe, Ward Burton at second. Elton Sawyer, who showed a rocket arm in infield practice, is at short, and Big Steve Grissom at third. On the mound, it's the left-hand pitching Chuck Bown. The NASCAR outfield shaping up with Richard Lassiter in left, Jeff Gordon in center, Tom Peck in right, Ricky Craven, the short fielder, although they're playing 4 wide in the outfield. Up to lead off for the IMSA team, P.J. Jones. He pops it in to left center field. Jeff Gordon puts it away. 1 pitch, 1 down for IMSA in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up to the plate the unrelated Davy Jones. P.J., of course, the California Jones. Davy, the New York State Jones, wearing his Camel GT number 2 on his back. He waits on it, taps one out to third base. Steve Grissom will come in. Grissom to first, and Davy beats it. No! Davy, as quick down the base path as he is in the Bud Light Jaguar, beats out the slow bounder to third. IMSA has its first base runner as Andy Evans comes to the plate. Andy, driver, owner of the Norwegian Cruise Line Scandia Buick Kudzu team, he taps one foul at the plate. Strike 1 on Andy Evans. He's got the pinstripe shirt and the number 44. Let's see if he hits the ball like Reggie Jackson. Instead, he hits a high fly into left field. And Richard Lassiter stabs at it and puts it away. Ex-linebacker Richard Lassiter showing football moves, but putting the ball away. 2 down with Davy Jones on first for IMSA. As Sean Hendricks steps to the plate. Sean Hendricks out of Pumpkin Town, South Carolina, now living in Easley, South Carolina. Top competitor on the Bridgestone Supercar Series. Line drive to straightaway center field. Craven puts it away, and IMSA goes down in the first inning, 0-0 after 1 here at Eldridge Stadium between the NASCAR Busch Grand National and the IMSA Camel GT teams. Driving the Clifford Allison backup car. However, he's wearing his wife's uniform number on his back. His wife, Patty Moise, will be carrying number 42 in the phase 150. The usual advice from the bench to Elton Sawyer to wait for his pitch. Not as much advice as to what that pitch might be. Outside for ball 1 to Elton Sawyer as Bryce Cobb chases it back to the screen.
Good eye, Bryce. Next time, Bryce.
Bryce Cobb putting up with the usual catcher's problem of having to take abuse from the press box. And that's a strike. Call strike on Elton Sawyer. Elton, you learn around these parts, never give that look to the Duke. Duke Sechrist, our plate umpire, counts 1-1 on Elton Sawyer leading off in the top of the second inning. He gets a hold of it to deep center field, going back and putting it away. Once again, it'll be P.J. Jones, as P.J.'s been getting plenty of outfield work for the IMSA team. NASCAR's heavy hitters not able to reach the fences. Yeah, here's one who very well could. Steve Grissom, a top college football prospect who did what very few people in Alabama dare to do, become race drivers instead of football players. He takes called strike one. High and outside to Steve Grissom, count 1-1.
That Brabham playing short left field?
Kenny Wallace of Pennsylvania on the mound. Remember, we have a Kenny Wallace on each team. IMSA's Kenny is the pitcher. And, well, Steve Grissom's waiting for the pitch he wants. Count now, 3-1 on Steve Grissom.
Hey, nice look, Steve.
One out, top of the second.
Whoa, look good to me.
Oh, Duke says that one broke the strike zone. Full count on Steve Grissom. 3-2 to Grissom. One out, top of the second. And he looks at strike three. Steve Grissom walks back to the bench, faces the scorn of his teammates after looking at strike three, the second out in the top of the second inning. Batting from the left side of the plate, Chuck Bound, 1990 Busch Grand National Series champion. Chuck Bound takes the first two pitches for balls, 2-0 with 2 out in the top of the second. A lot of deuces on the board for Chuck Bound.
Can anybody here play this game?
Big rep for Chuck Bound. Unfortunately, he didn't make contact. It's 2-1.
Ball was over the plate, not the bat.
Outside, 3-1 the count now to Chuck Bound. As he looks down to third base for advice. Doesn't get much. And Chuck Bound grounds to the mound. Pennsylvania Kenny Wallace lobs over to Andy Evans at first base to retire the side in the top of the second after 1.5. Still scoreless between NASCAR and IMSA, with IMSA coming to bat in the bottom of the second.
What lap is it?
Yeah, what lap is it? Thank you. Jeff Brabham will lead off for the IMSA team. Chuck Bound still trying to hold his no-hitter. As we get set to go. Troy Beebe at first, Ward Burton at second, Elton Sawyer at short. Steve Grissom is at third. The outfield is Richard Lassiter, Jeff Gordon, Ricky Craven. Who's in right? And Tom Peck is in right. First pitch popped up towards shortstop Sawyer, and he'll grab it for the out. One down. Quickly in the bottom of the second inning. Next up will be the shortstop for the IMSA Camel GT team, Parker Johnstone. Still no score, one out. First pitch is little on the inside and short. That'll be ball one. Chuck Bound, still a perfect game so far. There's pitch number 2. Strike across the plate called. 1-1 the count. Johnstone with a pop ball, short right field. Craven can't get to it. That'll fall in for a single. And IMSA will get its first runner as Parker Johnstone singles to right field. One out. And Pete Halsmer will be the batter for the IMSA Camel GT team. And the pitch from Chuck Bound. Swung, drive to shortstop. Sawyer over to second. Burton throws to first, not in time. But they will chop down the lead runner, and there'll be 2 outs. So the fielder's choice puts Halsmer on first and Johnstone back to the dugout.
My God, that looks like baseball.
Next up to the plate, Jacksonville, Florida's Tommy Riggins. 2 outs, no score, bottom of the second, and the pitch from Chuck Bound. Swung on and missed, strike one. Actually tipped the ball foul. Runner on first is Halsmer. Here's the pitch, 0-1. It's popped up towards Elton Sawyer at short. He will grab it, and that will retire the side. One runner No runs, 1 hit, and no errors. And we still have no score as we head to the top of the 3rd inning. And Ricky Craven steps into the box. The New Hampshire native, now living in Virginia, will lead off for NASCAR. Drives the ball foul into left field, off the light pole. Ricky, you couldn't do that again in 10 years if you tried, could you?
New Hampshire's that way.
Yeah. 1 strike. And the pitch from Wallace. Hit again towards the hole, through into the outfield. Base hit for Craven. So a base runner to lead off the top of the 3rd inning as the ball slips through on the comeback in. And so Craven will be on first. The leadoff runner for NASCAR. Now into the box, Pennsylvania's Tom Peck. And the pitch from Wallace. Peck drives it towards short. Up, Johnstone over for 1. They'll not have the chance for the double play as Jones's throw is late to first. So the fielder's choice and 1 out. For the NASCAR team, the IMSA Camel GT Series, holding down to that 1 runner at first base. And Todd Bodine steps into the batter's box. The catcher from Chemung, New York. Here is the pitch from Wallace. Bodine pops it towards shallow center field. Drops in for a base hit. Runners will advance. The throw squirts through. Peck looks to try and grab third base, but he'll go back into second. And so NASCAR has runners on first and second with 1 out. And we're back to the top of the order as Ward Burton of South Boston, Virginia, steps into the box. Peck on second, Bodine on first, and the pitch hit towards center field. Here comes Jones and Brabham converging. The ball drops in over the both of them. Here comes the runner around third, and Peck will score the first run. Burton will get the second, Bodine to third, and NASCAR goes up 1-0.
They're both going for the apex at the same time. They can't drive. They're both fighting for the apex. Andy Halsmer's last one, big player. Said he can crush it.
1-0, NASCAR. Top of the 3rd inning. Runners on second and third. And the batter will be Richard Lassiter. Lassiter, the left-handed hitter, will step up and take the pitch from Kenny Wallace. And he'll take a shot out, pop towards deep first base. And Andy Evans will reel the ball in, and we'll have 2 outs now in the top of the 3rd inning. So Lassiter pops out to first base. Runners still on second and third, and Jeff Gordon will be the batter. Gordon hitting right-handed, trying to bring home the runners on second and third. Pops the first pitch up. Shallow right center field. Here comes 2. And the grab is made by Tommy Riggins from out of right field. And that will retire the side. But NASCAR gets 1 run and takes the lead in the top of the 3rd, 1-0.
Kenny Wallace will lead it off for the IMSA team. Drops in for a strike from Chuck Bound. Kenny Wallace lines one deep to left field. No! Richard Lassiter spears it, backing up. Bryce Cobb will come to the plate. Kenny Wallace sending a frozen rope out to left field. Richard Lassiter backs up and pulls it down. Bryce Cobb at the plate.
Yeah, good eye, Todd.
Once again, you'll notice that all of these players have their race car numbers on their uniforms. We won't mention that number 77 usually gets cuts early. Bryce Cobb lifts the soft liner into center field. Bryce Cobb on first base. A base runner for IMSA with 1 down, and here comes a designated hitter, Jeff Perner.
Decimated?
Designated, not decimated. We race announcers are all alike, aren't we?
No.
Jeff Perner pops it up.
Fly ball. Go!
Perner heads for first base as the ball falls between pitcher Bound and catcher Bodine. The throw goes down the left field corner. When they're finished throwing the ball around, Price Cobb is on third. Jeff Perner doesn't know exactly why he's on first, but he's there.
How do you score that one, Al?
That was a long ball. Fielder's choice. How are we going to score that one? Fielder's choice. Long side.
Lost in space.
With the usual discussion in the press box results in the inevitable conclusion, we call it a fielder's choice.
E, big E.
And I have to mention here to Mike Joy that I was a scorekeeper before I was an announcer, but one principle applies. Give it a fielder's choice. That's just like saying it's a racing accident. Hard drive by P.J. Jones into left field. Base hit. Tie ball game as Price Cobb comes home. Here goes Perner for third base. He'll make it standing up. Into second base will go P.J. Jones. That'll be a single and a fielder's choice for Jones. An RBI to tie it up. 1-1 here in the bottom of the third with one down. As some broadcaster from my youth used to say, there's ducks on the pond. Runners at second and third for Davy Jones. He takes call, strike one.
Strike, Davy.
Chuck Bound gonna have to bear down. Davy Jones taps it out in front of the plate. Bound will field it to Todd Bodine. Bodine drops it at the plate. Run will score. Bodine throws to Sawyer at second. Sawyer return throw to the plate. Safe at the plate. P.J. Jones will score. 2 runs for IMSA on the play. Coming out of a tap grounder that went all of about 6 feet back to Chuck Bound.
Well, that was as quick as a super modified.
I think Todd needs a softer compound glove.
Todd Bodine going to call to the pit crew for a soft compound glove after that sequence. Now you can't soak the gloves any more than you can soak the tires. 2 runs for IMSA on the play.
Just as much. You gotta be good. Right.
At the plate, Andy Evans gets around on one. Sends it down into the 4th ward.
I think he got the ambulance.
We're going field reporting. Okay.
As we used to say back at the East Waverly Field, please return that ball to the press box. Andy Evans with a long strike one. This time he gets a hold of it high and deep to left field. Richard Lassiter will camp under it. Lassiter will pull it in, and Davy Jones will retreat to second base. 2 down now for IMSA in the bottom of the third, as Sean Hendricks will come up, needing a base hit to bring Davy Jones home. The Pumpkin Town Flyer from Pumpkin Town, South Carolina, Sean Hendricks, standing in with a runner on second, 2 down, and IMSA now holding a 3-1 lead. One hopper to Elton Sawyer at short. Sawyer guns over to Beebe at first, and that'll retire IMSA in the bottom of the third. But they'll go out in front, 3-1, with now 3 innings on the board. Robert Presley, driver of the Alliance Training Center's Oldsmobile, wearing his race number 59 on his back. They need to get a rally started here as IMSA leads 3-1. And Big Robert reaches for that one. If we had a cloudy night, that one might have brought rain. 0-1 the count on Robert Presley. And he drives one to second base. It's off the glove of Davy Jones. Line drive rolls into short right field, and Robert Presley will be on first base with a leadoff single. Robert Presley down on first. Single off the glove of Davy Jones. Bobby Labonte steps in. Bobby, a left-hand batter. Bobby is the defending Busch Grand National Series champion, has 1 win so far in the 1992 season. He taps it to the mound. Kenny Wallace throws to second for the force. Late at first, Bobby Labonte will be on the fielder's choice. Robert Presley forced at second, so it'll be 1 down and a runner at first for Elton Sawyer, playing shortstop for the Busch Grand National Series team tonight. Elton grounds to third. It's gloved by Pete Halsmer. Scoops to second. Davy Jones bobbles the throw, and Bobby Labonte will be safe at second. Halsmer fielding the ground ball, shoveled it underhand to Davy Jones. Bobbled for just a moment. Runners on first and second now with one out. And Ernie Irvan stands in. Your 1991 Daytona 500 and Budweiser at the Glen winner. He'll look at strike one from Kenny Wallace.
Base 150.
Ernie Irvan looks at the 0-1 pitch. Drives it foul outside first base. It'll be 0-2, but he got plenty on that one. Ernie Irvan scored his first Winston Cup win of the 1992 season on the road course at Sears Point International Raceway just a couple of weeks ago. And one of the favorites in his Kodak Film Chevrolet for the Phase 150 coming up this Saturday at the Glen. 0-2 the count to Ernie Irvan. Hard drive between first and second, base hit into right field. Bobby Labonte gets the sign to come around and score. He'll beat the throw. Elton Sawyer will go into third as Ernie Irvan holds on at first base with a single. NASCAR closes the gap to 3-2. Runners at first and third with one out now, and Chuck Bown coming to the plate. We're playing the top of the fourth. IMSA in the lead, 3-2. Kenny Wallace delivers low and outside to Chuck Bown. Count will be 1-0. Pitch is high to Chuck Bown. Count runs to 2-0. Bown, the left-hand pitcher and batter. He again drives it between first and second. Hard single into right field. Elton Sawyer will come home to tie this ball game at 3-3 as Ernie Irvan holds at second. Chuck Bown on at first with an RBI single. That's the score at 3-3. Runners on first and second with one out for Ricky Craven. Craven with a real closed stance. Remember, he got around on one and drove it out in the parking lot. His first time up, unfortunately, it was foul and hit the light pole. He takes strike one from Kenny Wallace. Bouncer to shortstop. Parker Johnstone gets the force play on Chuck Bown at second. Ernie Irvan advances to third, and Ricky Craven will be on the fielder's choice. Two down now, as Butch Miller will be up for the first time this evening. Butch Miller driving the Food Country USA Oldsmobile in the Busch Grand National Series. Stands in from the right side, and he'll see ball one outside from Kenny Wallace. That one's down the middle, and Miller will lift it to left field, where Chip Robinson will put it away for out number 3. NASCAR comes up with 2 runs in the top of the fourth to tie the ball game up at 3-3, with IMSA coming up in the bottom of inning number 4.
You have to introduce these new concepts to these guys a little bit at a time. First pitch from Chuck Bown inside, ball 1. Bottom half of the fourth inning. Due up after Chip Robinson, Parker Johnstone, and Pete Halsmer. Robinson nubs one back to the mound. Chuck Bown throws over to new first baseman Robert Presley, and there is one out. Presley has gone in at first. Bobby Labonte is now the designated hitter. Clifford Allison, the new catcher. Ernie Irvan is in left center field. Butch Miller's in right field. Kenny Wallace has moved to left field.
Chip Robinson does not own the lumberyard outside the stadium.
Yeah. Parker Johnstone pops one up towards shallow center field. Craven coming in. Gordon going back. Jeff Gordon makes the grab, and there are 2 outs in the bottom half of the fourth. Jeff grabbing at the baseball like he's been trying to grab at some of those checkered flags this year. Pete Halsmer steps into the box now. First pitch from Chuck Bown. Outside, ball 1. 2 outs, bottom half of the fourth. The left-hander Bown. Here's the pitch. And Halsmer hits it deep to left field. Kenny Wallace moves under it, makes the grab. And the IMSA team will be retired in order in the bottom half of inning number 4. No runs, no hits, no errors, and the score is still 3-3. Clifford Allison steps into the batter's box. Here's the pitch from Kenny Wallace. A swing and a miss, strike 1 for Clifford. Clifford's brother Davy played for the Winston Cup team in their game against the Drag Racers. There's a number back to the mound. Throw over to first. Barely in time. And there's 1 out. Wallace to Evans for out number 1 in the top of the 5th inning. Leadoff batter Ward Burton steps into the box. Burton with 1 hit in the game already. Trying to get a rally started for the NASCAR folks, and that he'll do. Over the head of Parker Johnstone. Burton's going to try and stretch it for 2. He'll be safe. Barely beats the throw in from left center field. And Ward Burton gets on base with a double for the NASCAR team and sets up the original Dirt Devil himself, Kenny Wallace. Kenny with the fashion statement with the baseball hat. Is that the rally cap, Kenny? Takes the pitch from the other Wallace. Nubs one towards short. Johnstone up with it over to first. Out will be made there. Ward Burton will advance to third, though. So the NASCAR Kenny Wallace with the sacrifice, and Ward Burton to third base, but there are 2 outs. What's the strategy, Jeff? Jeff Gordon will bat now for the NASCAR team. 2 outs, runner on third. Tie score 3-3, top of the 5th. Here's the pitch, foul ball. Strike 1. 0-1 to Jeff Gordon. As IMSA's Kenny Wallace lets go of the second pitch. Little deep. That'll be ball 1. 1-1. Robert Presley on deck for NASCAR. And the pitch popped up towards the foul line. And Price Cobb can't hang on to it in foul territory. If that were a trophy for winning a race, he'd have done a little bit better job hanging on to it, I think. 1-2 will be the count with 2 outs for Jeff Gordon. And the pitch popped up again into the infield. Kenny Wallace, the pitcher, makes the grab, and that will retire the side. So no runs for the NASCAR team on 1 hit, and the score remains 3-3 as we go to the bottom of inning number 5. Chuck Bound still pitching for NASCAR. Chuck, you getting a little tired? No, he's just fine. He's a typical race driver. He wouldn't admit it even if he was. Here's the pitch. And McAdam pops one into shallow center field. Irvan will scoop it up. And Tim McAdam will lead off with a single for the IMSA Camel GT team, trying to break a 3-3 tie. Pitcher Kenny Wallace for the IMSA team next in the box, trying to propagandize the umpire a little bit.
Woo, the Duke doesn't take that. No, that's a Duke. No.
Here's the pitch from Chuck Bound. That'll be strike 1. 0-1. Sure we do. Grounder to third base. Ward Burton scoops over to second to Nemechek. They'll get the lead runner on the fielder's choice, and there's 1 out. So Kenny Wallace hits into the fielder's choice. NASCAR gets the lead runner. Here's the catcher, Price Cobb.
Price scored.
Strike 1 on Price. Price scored a run back in inning number 3 for the IMSA team. And their big 3-run rally. Here is this pitch from Chuck Bound. Chopped down to third base. Ward Burton scoops it up over to second. Nemechek with the grab, out number 2 on the fielder's choice. NASCAR boys pretty good at chopping down the lead runner this inning. And now batting for the IMSA Camel GT Series team. Coming into the game will be Juan Fangio. Camel GT cheerleaders trying to get a little rally chant going here as Juan comes out of the dugout. 2 outs, runner on first is Price Cobb. 3-3 the score, bottom of the 5th inning, rather. Fangio trying to keep the rally alive for IMSA. Pops one towards right center field. Ernie Irvan slides under it, makes the grab. And out number 3 for the IMSA Series team. So we go to inning number 6, tied up 3 runs apiece.
Robert Presley will stand in against Kenny Wallace. Presley, the lanky right-hand batter, and he'll drive one at Pete Halsmer. It'll slide past Halsmer's glove into left field. That will be a single for Robert Presley, leading off in the top of the 6th inning. Bobby Labonte will bat from the left side of the plate. Leadoff runner at first. Tie ball game, top of the 6th. High and outside, says Duke Seacrest. Bobby Labonte choking up an inch or so on the bat. Taps it back to the mound. Kenny Wallace bottles it momentarily, and runners will be safe at first and second. Will score at a base hit. Runners on first and second. None out, and Elton Sawyer at bat. NASCAR with a chance for a big rally here in the top of the 6th. 2 lead runners are on. Elton Sawyer at the plate. He'll take it high and outside for ball 1. That one's inside, on the hands. Elton Sawyer will pop it foul out into the parking lot. One and one, the count to Elton Sawyer. And he'll slam that one down the third base line. Robert Presley will round third and come home to give NASCAR the lead. As Bobby Labonte holds on at second, Elton Sawyer rounds first and will hold up with an RBI single. 4-3 NASCAR, still with a none out. And runners at first and second in the top of the 6th. Ernie Irvan to the plate. Ernie with a chance to be the hero. Or the GOAT. Consensus in the box here is that he's going to go for the opposite field. And the consensus is right as he drives it into right.
Oh! Tim McAdam?
And it's Tim McAdam making the grab in right field. Coming in. Grabbing the sinking liner for 1 out. A big defensive play for IMSA. 1 down now with Chuck Bound coming to the plate. Still runners at first and second. Double play will get him out of the inning. And that one's outside. Ball 1 to Chuck Bound. Bound looks at another low outside pitch. It'll be 2-0. Kenny Wallace can't afford to put this runner on as big Steve Grissom swinging the bat in the on-deck circle. Line drive into center field. That'll be a base hit for Chuck Bound. Bobby Labonte will hold up at third as the ball comes back into the infield. They are loaded up for Steve Grissom. Big Steve Grissom with a chance to break this one open.
Let the pressure get to you, Steve.
This guy knows how to handle pressure. He runs his own Busch Grand National team. If that's not pressure, I don't know what is. He takes ball 1. No place to put him. Bobby Labonte on third. Elton Sawyer down at second. Chuck Bound at first. Bases loaded for Steve Grissom. NASCAR ahead 4-3 in the top of the 6th. Oh, Grissom looks at a good one. And Grissom also looks at Duke Seacrest.
Oh, you call him, Duke.
Good eye by Steve Grissom. Steve, there's coaches around here been trying that with a Duke for 30 or 40 years, and it hasn't worked yet. Line drive directly to Pete Halsmer at third. Runners will hold 2 down. Here's a guy who could put some muscle behind the ball, Richard Lassiter, driver of the Innkeeper Pontiac at number 5. He's in left field tonight for the NASCAR team. He drives it straight away up the middle. And P.J. Jones puts it away near the bud sign in deep center field for the third out. NASCAR scores 1 to take the lead in the top of the 6th. Misses the chance for the big game breaker. They'll be up 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th starts out with P.J. Jones ripping one foul deep to left field and into the parking lot. There are no prizes, P.J., for hitting the ambulance, but nice shot. P.J. stands in with the 0-1 count, and this time he drives it into left field. It'll fall in front of the left fielder. P.J. will hold up with a single. Kenny Wallace out in left field now. It'll fall in front of Kenny. And Thurman Velez will pinch it for Davy Jones. Man with the smallest strike zone on the field tonight. Thurman Velez, two-time World Endurance Racing champion and top contender in the Camel Lights division. Playing the All-American game for the first time, he taps to the mound.
Nice grab.
And a nice grab by Joe Nemechek at second. As he was going the wrong way, he speared the throw, kept his foot on the bag. That'll force P.J. Jones at second. Thurman Velez will take over at first base with one down.
They just said he was batting for Jones, didn't they?
I think we got somebody crossed. Davy Jones will foul one down into the left field corner. That one also out by the ambulance, which seems to be a popular spot tonight. If you're a Jake, less Hover, please. Jake Hover. Anyway, report to Duke Seacrest. Pinch runner.
How can they do that? He's in the game still.
P.J. going down to first base. Thurman, of course, is used to turning left and right. Hey, first time up in a ball game and he gets on base. Not bad. Not bad for the Camel Lights top contender. Ground ball to shortstop. Elton Sawyer scoops to Nemechek at second. Mike Luzon will call him out on the forced play. That will be two down for IMSA in the top of the bottom of the 6th inning.
It wasn't meant for P.J. to get to second base. That's the second time in a row he's been thrown out there.
And Alan Bestwick reminds us that's the second time in a row that P.J. has been forced at second base. It's kind of like some drivers just can't negotiate turn two. I guess second base is the Waterloo for P.J. Andy Evans comes to bat. He's been strong defensively at first base tonight. He takes a big cut and misses. Strike one from Chuck Bound. NASCAR 4-3, bottom of the 6th inning. Called strike two now to Andy Evans. Chuck Bound way out in front on the count. 0-2.
What's the matter, Steve?
Andy Evans swings and misses for strike three. That will send Andy Evans back to the bench, send the NASCAR team to the dugout. They'll be coming up in the top of the 7th, still with a 4-3 lead.
On Jeff Gordon. Top of the 7th. Hey, this is supposed to be the last inning here, folks. NASCAR drivers got one final chance to pad their lead, and the IMSA drivers one final chance to catch up. Liner from Gordon. Down to third base, Pete Halsmer with the grab, and there's one down in the top of the 7th. 4-3 is the score, a slim one-run margin for the NASCAR team. And we go back up to the top of the inning, top of the order, rather. That'll be Ward Burton who comes to the plate. Been on base twice already tonight, but hasn't scored a run yet. First pitch from Kenny Wallace will be outside and be ball one. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Burton chops it into foul territory. Halsmer's there. He grabs it, and that'll be the second out for the NASCAR team. So down to one final out to try and generate a little bit more of a lead there. Kenny Wallace, what do you think? Can you beat this other guy? Oh, he's got that determined look on his face. He doesn't want to look back here. Oh, here we go. The rally cap look on the pitcher and the catcher. Popped out towards left field. Back, and it will be over the head. And in for a base hit. P.J. Jones slips Wallace around second, comes to third. Dennis Punch tells him to go, but Wallace thinks better of it and holds up at third. And a triple for Kenny Wallace. I don't think the IMSA Kenny likes wearing that hat backwards anymore, does he? 2 outs, men on third, 4-3. NASCAR, and Joe Nemechek steps up to the plate. Grounds it back to the mound. Hard to handle. Safe at first. Run scores. Red Cross tent. Run scores for NASCAR. As pitcher Kenny Wallace has trouble handling that one, Nemechek is safe on first. It's 5-3. We'll score that one an error for the pitcher. Here's Robert Presley. Slugs it out towards left field, heading foul. The question is, does it get a windshield? Nice grab by the ambulance attendant. Ambulance has been a popular spot tonight, hasn't it?
One thing to remember, Alan, about those cars parked out there, many of them are rental cars. You know what happens to rental cars?
Yeah, we don't care about rental cars. There's a fly ball towards left field. Caught. And nicely by Sean Hendricks for the third out. So another run, 2 runs for NASCAR. 5-3 heading to the bottom half of the last inning. Dennis Punch, one of the NASCAR coaches, says there are people asking for their money back now. I'm sorry, I claim no responsibility for my singing. Here's Sean Hendricks, the batter. 1 strike. Chuck Bound going the distance for the NASCAR team. They need 3 outs to hold on to a 2-run lead. Second pitch, chopped towards third base. Ward Burton up with it, throws over to first, not in time. Leadoff runner is on for the IMSA team as they try and rally and make up that 2-run deficit, and the batter will be Jeff Perner. Dan Gurney coaching down at first for the IMSA team. Any advice for the runner, Dan? None at all, huh? Drive hard, turn left. Shot by Perner, back to the mound. Bound over to second to Jeff Gordon, and they'll cut down the lead runner, so 1 out. Perner goes to first. And the batter will be Tim McAdam, playing right field for the IMSA team. Is that supposed to be a wave out there, gang? You can do better than that, I think. Shot towards right center field. Irvan goes over, can't grab it. Ball falls in. Kenny Wallace scoops it up, throws it back into the infield, but we'll have runners on first and second with 1 out. And the tying run is on first base.
Hugh Fuller, pinch hitting.
Who's in?
Hugh Fuller.
Hugh Fuller will pinch hit for the IMSA team. Chuck Bound feeling a little pressure here in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the pitch. Be outside. Ball 1. Runners on first and second. 1 out. 5-3 NASCAR. Bottom of the last inning. Do or die for the IMSA team. Pitch. Ball 2, a little deep. 2-0. There is a shot towards right center field. Swervin' Irvan back under the ball. Makes the grab for out number 2. Good job, Ernie. Ernie Irvan with the grab, and there are 2 outs, and IMSA is down to its very last out. It's all up to Parker Johnstone. 2 outs, tying run on first base. The pitch from Chuck Bound will be inside, ball 1. 1-0. Bound serves. Johnstone looks at strike 1. 1-1. And the pitch from Chuck Bound, inside, ball 2.
quickly for Bush.
For what and where?
Kingsbury's.
Yeah.
On Washington in Elmira.
Pitch from Bound, strike 2, full count. No, ball 4. So Chuck Bound gives up his first walk of the game, puts the go-ahead run on first base with 2 outs in the bottom half of the last inning. And Pete Hitman Halsmer comes to the plate. Pete's going to put that rally cap on, turn that hat around backwards. What do you think, Pete? You ready? No more rally cap? Okay. Ball 1 to Halsmer. We have a set of lost car keys here in the announce tower with a GM Goodwrench tag on them. If you have lost your car keys and they have a Goodwrench tag, we have them here in the tower. Pitch from Chuck Bound, ball 2, 2-0. Bases are full. There's pitch. That'll be strike 1, 2-1. Tying run is now at second base. Bases are full, 2 outs, bottom of the last inning, 5-3 NASCAR, and the count is 2-1 to Pete Halsmer. Pitch from the lefty, Chuck Bound, will be strike 2, called. Halsmer not necessarily pleased with that call. Pointing out a mark in the dirt like you might point out a rub on the quarter panel. Down to their last strike. Here is the pitch from Chuck Bound. That'll be inside. Wow. Full count, 2 outs, bases loaded, bottom of the last inning. Talk about pressure. Here's the pitch. Halsmer looks. Ball 4. So Chuck Bound will walk in. Our run. Jeff Perner crosses the plate. It's now 5-4 IMSA. And here is NASCAR's manager, Steve King, out to have a conference with his pitcher. Chuck Bound has gone the distance so far, but he is in a little bit of trouble right now. We'll repeat this again since it's quieted down just for a second. If you've lost your car keys and your keys have a GM Goodwrench tag on them, a Dale Earnhardt tag, we've got them up here in the announce tower. You might need these to get home later. All right, Steve King's going to leave Chuck Bound on the game. We have a timeout as Pete Halsmer returns that gold-plated batting glove in. Bases loaded, 2 outs. IMSA trailing by 1 run, and their pitcher, Kenny Wallace, is at the plate to face Chuck Bound. Here's the pitch. Strike 1. 0-1 to Kenny Wallace. The pitch from Bound. Wallace swats it out towards left field. It'll curve foul. A deep shot from IMSA's Kenny Wallace, but that'll hook foul. And the runners will all have to return, and we'll be at 0-2 to Kenny Wallace. Again, down to their last strike, the IMSA Camel GT team. We've had a little drama here. 5-4, bases loaded, 0-2, 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Chuck Bound. Wallace swings. Did he tip it? Foul ball. Wow.
Way to go, Zeke.
Foul ball. Kenny was sweating that one, I think. 0-2. And the pitch. Hit to left field. The NASCAR Kenny Wallace under it, grabs the ball. The game is over. 5-4. NASCAR wins. Kenny Wallace with the final out, and Chuck Bound goes the distance for NASCAR.
Ask people to remain in their seats for just a moment. We'll have our winner's presentation announced by the player on field.
Folks, if you'll remain in your seats for just a minute, we'll have the winner's trophy presentation, also a presentation of a most valuable player trophy. And we'll do that in just a second. And how about a big hand for both these teams? The NASCAR Busch Grand National and IMSA Camel GT drivers. Fine game they put on tonight. All for a great cause.